If you look at these two in terms of setup, with the club now, as you can see on the ground, they're outside your right foot. That's going to give you an indication more so now for how your club's going to come into the golf ball on a slightly more descending blow. I think in the past when you had the golf ball a little bit too far forward, okay, it would encourage you to hit the golf ball a little bit ground first. Then if you're fatting, you then try to stop fatting it, so you thin it, and it's just a combination of sort of up and down, basically trying to avoid the ground and then miss the top of the ball. And yeah, the distance control then is a complete guess, because if you hit the ground an inch beyond the ball, even less than that, half an inch, quarter of an inch, it goes like 3 foot in front of you. And then if you try and think, oh, I missed the ground, you thin it, and it's just like off the green on the side. So having that ball back in your stance slightly, as I said, all we're going to do from there, if you sort of imagined there's your front foot and there's your back foot, okay, so the yellow line indicates the right foot position for a chip shot, and the blue line now over here to the left is the right foot for a full shot. So by bringing the foot in now, in a sense, puts that ball back in the stance, and you can see it puts a little bit of shafting on the golf club, which is what we want. Again, we want too much, because too much obviously decreases the leading edge of the bounce and increase that leading edge, get a bit more of a kind of a digging sensation. Okay, this as you went back, the head kind of dropping back, okay, a little bit underneath, as we can see. There's your impact now. The shaft now is almost, wait, on the ball there, almost vertical. So it's not, it wouldn't take a lot for that clubber to overtake a little bit, and then you're getting a little bit ground first. If the clubber overtaking the hands at any point, it's a recipe for disaster, okay? Whereas this one here now, as we go back, if we go into impact there, there's your impact position, as you can see. The hands and the club shell, there's the contact there. Your hands are on that blue line. There's impact where the club would be, okay? Yeah. Your head's still got a little bit of that twist on there. That may well be sort of a characteristic of your swing, but I think in time, if we can just be a bit more aware of that, so we can just get a bit more kind of chest turning through. When you finish this swing, then you see your chest and torso rotating through with that, and the more the torso kind of rotates through, the slower that club's going to be. So you're sort of clipping the ball off the top there without trying to sort of stop the ball go too far. I think sometimes you said you were quite negative and quite sort of tentative with the shots, and fear of going too far, just because you know how much further you can whack the golf ball, and it's a big percentage takeoff for you to go from 120 yards to 20 yards. Okay, so the faster that torso can kind of twist through, in a sense, the slower the club's going to swing through. So this kind of movement here now, back and forth, at least in impact, most things now are favouring that front foot. Your contact now is striking that ball nicely. That ball's going off the golf ball there nicely. Whereas this one here now, a little bit lower. If we sort of look at those launch angles, that one there's a bit kind of flatter. You hit the mat behind the ball and it chunked it forward. Where that one, utilising the full loft of the club, actually getting that club to the bottom of the ball. And I think when I measured it on the old sort of using this bad boy, it was like about 5 degrees different. It was a bit, I couldn't quite get it to be fair, but it was 30ish degrees on this one here now, roughly 35. There you go. So you're getting that one there. That's absolutely fine. Whereas this one here now, I would say is about the low mid 20s when I did it. There you go. 20 degrees. So you're losing another 10 or 15 degrees. So the ball's coming out different. And if you're anticipating a shot with a sand down to come out like this, and it's coming out like that, it will go too far. Then of course, then you've got to try and be tentative because you're scared of going too far. Then you hit the ground around the ball, it goes nowhere. Now we hit it harder, then you thin it. Oh crap! It's back and forth like a yo-yo, and you never really get any consistency. Now, if you want to play a lower shot, take a 9-9. Don't try and take it with a sand down and try and adjust things by moving this and moving that and changing the loft and incorrectly. The ball needs to be. The ball wants to be back in the stance, but that gives you the full loft to sand down there. You make the ball lower, the yellow line, take a left off the club. You want to get an even lower shot, take a left off the club. Okay, so depending on what shot you want, based on what's in front of you, if nothing's in the way, we can go fairly low. We can run it if we need to. If the ground is so soft this time of year now, do you want to run the ball through muddy conditions? You might want to fly it more of the distance, and actually go, well, if I go sand down, that normally goes, as we said, about 80%, to land it another 10% further wouldn't be that difficult for your brain to compute. But if you're playing a 7 iron that should land, say, 20%, but you've actually got to land it halfway, that's a lot to try and increase how far a 7 I would want to go. So there's a little bit of practice and play with that. Like I say, there'll be times when you choose the wrong club and you go, oh, that was wrong. But as long as you're aware it's the wrong decision you've made and the execution was pretty good, you can stick with the execution next time, but learn from the mistake you made to not to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. We're going to make mistakes, but then you go, okay, that was wrong. Why was it wrong? Okay, so not just like, oh, that was terrible, bad, don't do it again, and then you forget what you just done wrong. Okay, learning for me is you learn more from your mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So setup is going to be slightly narrower, but that ball's going to be more towards your right foot, and it's keeping the hands and the chest, everything's moving through this way as the club kind of stays back. If the body stops and the head kind of goes this way and leans back, and you flick it, that's when you get the thinny ones or the fat ones, and then of course the variety of distance is just all over the place. A 20-yard chip in your head with the energy of a 20-yard chip might go 5 yards or 50 yards, and then you just no green's big enough, is it? So makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good stuff. Very